Our arrival in Nicaragua was anything but ordinary. After crossing the border from El Salvador by boat, we found ourselves being carried princess-style to shore. After a friendly welcome by a local resident and some immigration formalities later, we were on our way to León, the city of revolution. Once at the heart of Nicaragua's revolutionary past, especially in the 1970s, when the Sandinista National Liberation Front fought against the Somoza dictatorship. Today, León is now the backpackers' hub, best known for something a little less political, volcano boarding down Cerro Negro. To kick off our trip, we checked into Casa Lula León, a family-run hostel with a cozy home atmosphere. There's no hot water showers in general, but if there's one thing you should know about León's climate, it's hot. Like hot. We decided to skip air conditioning to save money, and it was a bad idea during the day, but surprisingly manageable at night. We needed local currency, so we stopped by Mercado Central, where we exchanged money with a man carrying a large stack of cash. The rate was decent, about 36.4 Nicaraguan cordobas per US dollar. The rest of Mercado Central was quite the sight. Locals come here to shop for their daily goods, from fruits and drinks to electronics and makeup. It's here where you can try some unique fruits, as well as traditional snacks. We are told that the stores are transferred from family to family, and it's the first place where Nicaraguan coins were used in place of Spanish money. There's even a hot foods section where locals come to grab a meal. One of the most memorable things about León is its street art. The revolutionary spirit is still alive here, and nowhere is that more evident than in the murals that line the city's walls. Walls frequently showcase symbols of resistance, raised fists, rifles, and the red and black Sandinista flag, celebrating the courage of ordinary people who took up arms against oppression. Parque Héroes y Mártires has the largest one, illustrating Nicaragua's history, struggles, and victories in bold, vivid colors. León is also a city of churches, and you could easily spend a few hours exploring them. The most famous is Cathedral de León, the largest church in Central America and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The cathedral is flanked by lion sculptures, which seem to embody the city's name, León, meaning lion. We regret not making it to the rooftop, which is apparently stunning at sunset. Here's a tip from a local guide. Buy your ticket in advance and queue up at least 5 minutes before 5 p.m. for the best views. Another gorgeous church in town is the Church of the Recollection, an impressive mustard yellow church with an intricately detailed facade, built in 1786. The next morning, it was time for León's signature adventure, volcano boarding on Cerro Negro. One of the few places in the world where you can do this. It involves hiking up the active volcano and then sliding down on a wooden board. My wife very wisely skipped this activity, given reports of people breaking ankles and wrists on the way down. I booked the volcano boarding through our hostel, but Bigfoot Hostel and Via Via Cafe are the main operators. The most basic tour costs $20 plus a $10 park entrance fee. Our group of 20 plus drove an hour to the volcano. Once there, we were handed boards, suits, and goggles. We were told we could hire someone to carry our boards, but no one was available, so we had to lug them up ourselves. The hike up would have been easy, but with the extra weight and strong winds pushing against us, it ended up being brutal. At the summit, we got to peer into the active crater and feel the heat from the ground before suiting up for the ride down. The ride down lasted all of 30 seconds. It was exhilarating, but with volcanic sand pelting at my face throughout, it wasn't exactly comfortable. Back in town, with her face and pants full of volcano dust, I discovered that my shower's water supply was cut off for an hour. Apparently, water rationing is a regular León thing. Thankfully, our hostel had a reserve tank, so I managed to take a quick shower. With the midday heat in full force, we searched for lunch and ended up at a cafe with delicious paninis. Though, like many places in León, there was no air conditioning. To escape the heat, we made our way to Casa del Cafe, León's version of Starbucks. Their air conditioning and free Wi-Fi were the main draw, but their iced coffee and tres leches cake was surprisingly decent. Later at 4 p.m, we joined the León free walking tour. This is the perfect time as the weather is starting to cool. The 3-hour tour covered the city's revolutionary past, famous literary figures, while visiting various spots around town. We also had a little friend that followed us throughout the majority of the tour. Thanks to our guide, we discovered places that we wouldn't have found on the internet, such as the Ruinas de San Sebastian, destroyed during the Somoza bombardment in 1979. We also learned about Rubén Darío, Nicaragua's most celebrated poet, whose influence is still felt throughout the city. In fact, his tomb can be found in the Church of León. Something that stood out about León was its university culture. As we wandered, we passed numerous colleges, from seminaries to technical schools and hospitality academies. Throughout our stay, we also kept spotting La Gigantona, a traditional Nicaraguan puppet performance where children dance giant dolls through the streets. It's an ironic commentary on colonial history, where a tall European woman, La Gigantona, and a small indigenous man, El Enano, represent the Spanish colonizers and the native people. Children often take part in the performance, collecting tips from passersby to keep this tradition alive. Of course, no visit to Nicaragua is complete without trying gallo pinto. As the country's national dish, it translates into a spotted rooster and is essentially rice cooked with red beans. This is one of the most quintessential Nicaraguan dishes and can be found almost everywhere. While walking around, we followed our noses to the delicious smell of grilled meat and stumbled onto these makeshift barbecue stalls. Found just behind the León Cathedral, these ladies seem to set up around dusk and operate until late into the night. Although we didn't get to try it ourselves, it seemed to be very popular with the locals. Hot, raw, and pulsing with a revolutionary and intellectual spirit, León is a city that definitely leaves an impression. It made us even more curious about its sister city, Granada, historically more conservative and known for its colonial architecture. We booked a shuttle online and in 3 hours arrived in what some call one of the prettiest cities in Central America. As a matter of fact, Granada is often compared to Antigua in Guatemala, with its colonial churches, cobblestone streets, and yes, horse-drawn carriages. But where Antigua is bursting with tourists, Granada is more untamed, more relaxed, and refreshingly low-key. For us, it was a place to slow down and take a break from backpacking. Our trip started almost comically when we accidentally stumbled upon this small tuck shop for bus drivers. We ended up paying just $10 for 2 plates of food and drinks. Despite its unassuming location, the food was surprisingly delicious and cheap. Granada has no shortage of churches, more than 10 in fact. The most famous one is the Immaculate Conception of Mary Cathedral. This bright yellow landmark is what you'll see in every postcard of Granada. Rebuilt multiple times since 1525, you can climb to the bell tower for just $1. It's the best place to get a panoramic view of Granada's red-tiled roofs, mountains, and palm trees, as well as decorations of love scribbled on the walls. We also climbed to the top of Iglesia La Merced, considered the most beautiful church in town. Built in the 1780s, it has an old-world elegance, and the view from the top is another must-see. One of the most popular day trips from Granada is to Masaya volcano. Unfortunately, the volcano was closed when we were in town, so we didn't go. Apparently, you can drive right up to the crater and peer down at the molten lava. For something totally different, we booked a show at Psych Lounge, a mind-reading experience by a professional mentalist. Tickets were $12, including a drink, candy, and chips. We won't reveal what happened during the show, but it's a fun and unique way to spend the evening if you are ever in Granada. The next morning, we had breakfast at Kathy's Waffle House. Despite the name, we skipped the waffles and went straight for the pancakes in a breakfast plate. The homemade potatoes were crispy, buttery, and the best thing on the plate, an absolute must-try. After breakfast, we took a 15-minute walk to the Malecon, the promenade overlooking Lake Nicaragua. Unfortunately, the walk there was lined with trash, a stark contrast to the town center. At the Malecon, you can spot the black volcanic sand as well as locals hanging out. For a real slice of local life, the Mercado in Granada is one of the biggest local markets we've ever seen in Central America. It's chaotic, packed, and definitely not for tourists. No souvenirs here, just the daily hustle of butchers, vegetable sellers, and food vendors. In the middle of the Granada Square, we spotted a ton of locals eating vigorón, a popular Nicaraguan street food. For only 160 Cordobas, we got a bowl of boiled yuca and crispy fried pork skin, topped with a vinegary sauce. It's a unique mix of textures and flavors, salty, fatty, and tangy. Dinner plans took a detour when we passed Restaurante Chino Año Nuevo, a small takeout stand outside the Chinese eatery. An endless stream of people stopped by here to get takeaway. Intrigued, we decided to try their grilled chicken, and I also ordered a Cantonese fried rice. Maybe I was just hungry, but it was hands down the best fried rice I've had in Central America. In Granada, we stayed at Ola Apartments, a private Airbnb with a kitchen, bathroom, and air conditioning for under $50 a night. It's about a 10-minute walk from the center, but the upside was peace and quiet. The night guard was also incredibly helpful, even tracking down our shuttle driver when we struggled to make contact. That's all for our guide to Nicaragua. If you are getting ready for your own trip, don't forget to check out the links below for more details. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.